Hey guys, so I know it's been a minute. Um, yeah, I've been pretty busy, so I apologize for that. And I cut my hair, so that's also a shock. Um, so what I want to talk about today is probably something that's going to make me look bad, and I've been talking about this for a long time. Um, so I don't know. Um, I don't really know how to go about this, to be honest, without sounding like an asshole. Because for me, it's complicated. It's probably one of the most complicated issues that I kind of like deal with. Because I try to understand both sides, but at the same time, it's hard. Um, so basically, I was watching this documentary with my mom and Joe, and like this isn't what um, what it's about. But it's called The Red Pill, and it's actually a really good documentary. It's basically this girl. She's a journalist, and she's a devoted feminist. Basically, she believes in all that stuff or whatever. And I've never been a big fan of the whole feminist thing. I used to be because I thought it was a good thing to start bringing awareness to women that have been abused and stuff like that, and kind of that's my whole thing on it. Um, and the whole abortion thing, I feel like it's a woman's body, so she has a choice, and stuff like that. But as I started digging deep, and I realized that it's kind of just a man hating thing. There's not really any good behind the word feminism. I just kind of drifted away from it, and I kind of just become in the middle. Don't know what that's called. Probably humanitarian or equalist or whatever the hell you want to call it. Make some word up for it. Um, but that's kind of what I consider myself, because I don't agree. I kind of in the middle. I feel like everyone has problems on every side, whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, um, European, white, or not white, I just said white, woman, man. I mean, it doesn't gay, straight. I mean, I feel like every single group of people has problems in their bubble. So, and I think the reason I don't really fall into the men's rights movement either now, or the feminist movement, is because I feel like both of them are just separating issues. And I feel like, yes, there's certain things on the men's side that, yeah, I do agree is wrong. Like, the court system is wrong. I feel like, especially with custody battles and all this stuff, I feel like it's swayed more towards the woman, even if she's a shit mom. And then I also feel like, you know, you know, with abuse and stuff, people are so quick to get defensive over a man hitting a woman, but they don't give a shit if a woman's beating on a guy, because apparently he's supposed to be able to take it because he's a guy and shit like that. Or just you know, the whole communication and emotional thing, I think is wrong. That men aren't allowed to say how they feel and stuff like that, because it's considered weak, and women make fun of them, and just, or other men, and it's stupid. But and then on the woman's side, I do agree with the whole abortion thing, that it is a woman's body. And unfortunately, even if the man doesn't wants to have the kid, but the woman doesn't, you can't force the woman to have the baby. Unfortunately, she has to carry the baby if she chooses to. You can't take the baby out of her and you can carry it yourself. If that was a possibility, which it might be in the future, who knows, then fine, that would be fine. but that's not how it works. You can't force a woman to carry the child. I mean, I know it sucks, but unfortunately there's not much you can do about it. And then also just the fact of, yeah, like, I feel like women, they do go through rape and stuff. I'm not saying that men don't, because they do. I feel like a lot more men probably do. They just don't report it because they're afraid. And because also of that side of, like, they're saying, oh yeah, well, you're a guy, so you can't get raped and all that stuff. Like, that's a very common thing that I hear. So that's also a thing too. But with women, I feel like with the whole rape thing and that stuff, I do feel on that side too. I mean, the whole objectification thing, I don't feel like that's really a thing. I mean, I feel like it's a thing, but I feel like the women objectify themselves. I don't feel like, I mean, thing is, like, fine. If you want to go outside dressed in a mini skirt and, like, half a shirt, and your boobs are hanging out, your ass hanging out, and you got everything showing, fine. But that doesn't mean that people aren't going to stare at you. They're not going to look at you. I mean, that's just humans. I've even asked women, and they say that if they see a girl outside and they're dressed like that, they tend to look at her and are like, the hell? Either they're thinking shit in their head, which is not okay either, but still, we all do it. Saying, oh, she's a hoe, or she's a slut, or stuff like that, or, like, blah, 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 or whatever the hell they want to think. And then you got, or even girls that are, like, mean, and are like, oh, hey, how you doing? But then you got also the guys that are doing that too, where they think that they're like, oh, a girl's a slut, a girl's a hoe, or they got the ones who are like, oh my gosh, she's hot, There's always going to be that thing, because you can even have, the reason I don't agree with objectification in society as a whole, I do feel like it happens. I do feel like there are men and women out there that objectify. But I feel like it's just per person. I don't feel like you need to generalize it, because not everyone does it. I don't feel like the entire group of all males do it. I don't feel like all women do it. I feel like there's women and men that do it, but they've made it into this big thing where they just want to say everyone does it. And I just think it's dumb. I mean, if a man is out there thinking that a woman is just a piece of meat and she has no feelings and she is just a sex object, then fine. But if you're a woman and you get with somebody like that, then sorry, but that's kind of your fault. And two, that's not every guy. Vice versa. If you're a woman, this is the thing. They always want to say objectification is just women. Okay, I'm getting on a totally different subject, so I'm just going to continue on with it. But basically, people want to say objectification is only for women. It's only men doing it to women. But you know what? Women objectify men all the time. Just because men don't complain about it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But it's the same thing with rape. Is that men don't talk about it because it's not. People laugh it off. People don't think it's a real thing, which is fucked up. Just like abuse, just like domestic violence and stuff like that. No one lets the man talk. Just like people are so fucked up with that shit, and it makes me so angry. But it's like, men can get raped, men can get abused, men can have people objectifying them. When women are like talking about, men and like their bodies and stuff like that, and they're doing the same thing to a man that they don't want a man doing to them. And it's like, why is it okay for women to do that, but it's not okay for them to do it to us? Like, when a guy, is flirting with me and stuff, I used to, I'll admit, I used to get really pissed off, and I was like extreme feminist. That was just because I was going through some things, and unfortunately I never had a lot of good male role models in my life, plus I was raped by a man, so I didn't have a lot of that. So of course I was going through a stage of just hating men, and I'm not like that anymore, but it was just trauma, and that's just how I dealt with it. It was just like being an asshole. So, but back then, yeah, I would be like stupid and be like, oh, get all like offended and shit. But now if a guy hits on me, like, or says something to me, I don't even care. Like, I care. I'm like, thank you. like, I don't get offended. I don't get all butthurt. I don't get all about it. I'm just like, thanks, but I'm married or gay or both. So, and then, and the thing is, what I've noticed is, like, people want to be like, and it's funny because I feel like they dramatize the whole, like with women, like they always want to say, oh, when you like reject a guy, they just like get all stupid. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, just like I'm saying like when a guy rejects a girl, they can't get stupid either. But in my instances, I haven't dealt with that really. I've only like the only time I ever dealt with that was probably like in school, because boys and girls are immature as fuck, and you like tell them no, and they just get all butthurt and they start rumors about you and all that stuff. But that was for me mostly in high school, mostly in middle school, elementary school, like that was in school. But when I got out of school, like especially now being 23 and interacting with people, I've realized that that's not the case. That if you are nice to somebody and someone calls you pretty and the first thing you say is I have a boyfriend, that's just gonna piss them off. It's kind of like with me, like I get irritated too, like because I'm gay, and if I see a girl and I'm like, or I see somebody, even if I see a guy, but mostly a girl, because you know, and I'll be like, oh, you're so pretty, or like, you know, stuff like that, or your hair looks nice, or just like I'm giving somebody a compliment. I can't even tell you how many times a girl's been like, I have a boyfriend, or I'm not gay, and I'm like, I wasn't expecting you to be gay, nor I don't really care if you have a boyfriend because I wasn't hitting on you. I don't want to have sex with you. I'm just trying to give you a compliment, but fuck you. And I just, it's just stupid, like, because it's just rude. It's really just rude to do that to somebody. And like for me, like when guys do it, like I don't get offended anymore. I don't get upset. I don't get mad. I don't get like whatever. I'll talk to them and I'll be like, I'm like, you're really nice and everything, but I'm gay, or I'm married, I'm gay and married, and, just, but being nice to them, and like the first thing you say to them is like, and you have a conversation rather than just like jumping down their throat and being like, I have a boyfriend or something. I've like realized that they actually appreciate that, because at least you're giving them the time of day and you're not being an asshole. So, that's what I realized, and so like I still just try to give people that respect. But anyway, so aside from that, I just feel like, I feel like I'm in the middle. Like I said, I feel like on one side, I do see I do see where women do have problems in that aspect, and I also see on the men's side where they have problems. Because like I said, I feel like every group of people of whatever or sex, race, sexual orientation, gender expression, religion, I mean, honestly, anything that you are a part of, whatever type of group you are a part of, I feel like there's going to be issues in that group. And the reason, like, I kind of strayed away from feminism was just because I thought it was obnoxious. I really did. Just like I don't even consider myself a full-blown liberal anymore. I don't consider myself a conservative, but I don't consider myself a liberal. I'm kind of just like in the middle. Like I don't care. Like I mean I care, but I don't care. Because for me, it's kind of the same thing as like how every single debate has been going on lately, whether it's like blacks versus whites, or Christians versus gays, or Republicans versus Democrats, or women versus men, like just every single thing that has been going on, it's been one extreme or another. It's not been kind of like coming together and like kind of communicating, and I think that's where the problem lies, is that people aren't communicating. They're not getting together and discussing how they feel the problem is. That's the problem, is like they're not coming together and kind of discussing things in a mature way, and kind of trying to get people to see that this is how I feel, but I also want to see how you feel. Because the thing is, like, you can't close your mind to just your beliefs. You have to try to understand where everybody's coming from. You can't just be like, oh, well, I just believe this, so that's it. you know. And that, I think that's the problem, is that Christians are so stuck in their, not all Christians, okay, I'm not saying all people, okay, just saying that there's people in each, like I said, there's people in each group. So, you know, you got some Christians that are just like, fuck gays, and they're just like going to hell and all this stuff, and then you got gays that are like, fuck Christians, and like, they're all assholes and shit like that. I mean, me personally, I do have a hard time with Christianity. I don't feel like all Christians are assholes. I don't feel like all Christians are gay haters. But for me, I don't really like to associate myself with religion, just because I tend to get aggravated by it, because I just don't believe in it, and I just feel like there's a lot of things that are dumb as shit about it. But not my cup of tea. But if it's your cup of tea, good for you. But my whole thing is like, you know, I've tried to see all these things, even with religion and that, and blacks and whites, and men and women, and gays and straights. Like, I've tried to see every single, like, each side, because I feel like there's truth, there's not necessarily right and wrong on each side, but there's, like, because I don't feel like anyone's, like, really necessarily right or wrong. Like, I feel like in certain circumstances, yes, but I feel like in a lot of circumstances, it's mostly just, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's basically just, like, trying to just open your mind up. It doesn't mean you have to believe everything the person says, just like they don't have to believe everything you say. But at least if maybe you can get an understanding of why they're thinking like this, it'll make it better, so you're not, neither one of you are, you know, pissed off all the damn time or whatever. But for me, like, the reason I got out of feminism was because I realized that men do have issues just as much as women do. I mean, probably different issues, you know, and stuff like that. So you know, so that's why I try to, like, relate to it. I try to understand where men come from. I mean, I can't understand it you know, completely, but for me, I think the problem is, and I feel like this is, like, probably more of a newer generation thing, because I feel like with, like, my mom's generation and stuff like that, I feel like they kind of think, well, men have a completely different brain than women. And I do agree with that, to an extent. I do agree that, you know, men and women are different, you know, hormonally and somewhat psychologically, they are different, and obviously physically. But that doesn't mean that mentally, that we're all humans, you know what I mean? And the thing is what I feel like, what I try to do is I try to just do it by person. Like, I don't be like, oh, all men are like this, or all women are like this. I'm like, that person is like this. Because the thing is like, you can't be like, oh, all men are unemotional sacks of shit, and they don't, like, ever want to talk about their feelings, and they don't know how to nurture, and they don't know, you know, they don't know what the word sensitive is, and, like, all this stuff. Like, you can't assume that about a guy, just like you can't assume that all women are nurturing, or all women are sensitive or emotional, or all that shit, you know what I mean? Like, you have to just kind of go by the person, because I've met a lot of guys that are not super sensitive, because regardless if you're a guy or girl, it's fucking annoying as shit. But, you know, I've met guys that are, you know, they love to talk about their feelings, and they, you know, they, like, are nurturing and very loving and emotional in a good way, not, like, overly dramatic. And then I've met women that are not, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I've met women that aren't that way, that aren't really nurturing or loving in, like, in an extent, you know, like, they're not stereotypically what you think a woman should be, just like they're not stereotypically what you think a man should be. So I feel like with me, that's why I just go by the person. I'm just like, okay, well, this person is this way, or this. I don't try to gender stereotype anyone, or basically anything anymore, because I feel like anyone can be anything that they want to be, and people are going to be mentally and emotionally, psychologically, physically, like, they're going to be whatever they want. And so for me to be like, oh, well, you know, you're a guy, so you don't have any emotion. I think it's great when a guy has emotions. You know, I feel like it's a good thing, to be honest. I feel like it's great. I feel like it's a good thing to have to for a man to be able to get his feelings out, just like I feel like it's great for a woman to get her feelings out. But I do feel, okay, and this is where millennials are probably going to try to kick my ass. I don't agree with the over feminizing of men, just like I don't agree with the over over masculine, whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And that's coming from me, okay? Like, I consider myself androgynous. More so, I do lean to more of the masculine side, but the thing is, this is what I try to explain to people. The reason I was more masculine when I was fat was because I wasn't confident enough to wear girly clothing. I'm not a big fan, regardless, even though I've lost weight. I do like to wear tighter clothes, you know, maybe like a nice shirt. And I tried the whole crop top thing, not a big fan, you know, like I've tried these things, you know, and I'm just not into it. I've tried, and I've tried, and I tried, and I don't mind. I don't mind wearing a nice pair of pants, skinny jeans, or, you know, fucking a shirt. And even now, even if I needed to, I wouldn't even be opposed to wearing a dress every so often. But I wouldn't want to do that religiously. So that's fine. But for me, I feel like now, especially at my age and everything that I've gone through and everything that I've like accepted about myself, I feel like, and now that I'm happy with where I'm at with my body and everything, I feel like I'm pretty balanced with masculine and feminine, even though I might not dress completely feminine. My hair's short, obviously, but I feel like with my personality and things that I like, it's very, very balanced. And that's the thing too, is that I don't feel like you have to dress a certain way. Like if you're a woman and you dress more masculine per se, and you know, just because of that doesn't mean that you're not balanced. It just means that that's just how you express yourself. Like for me, like, hold on. Like, I dress, okay, this is my pajamas, so it's not a good example, but like, I'll wear, like, you know, I shop in the men's section, whatever. I wear those kind of clothing because I like the way it looks on me, and I like the way it feels. You know, and I wear my pants or wear sweats or whatever, and that's just what I like, okay, clothes-wise. But then I like shit like this. Like, that's not stereotypically masculine, okay? It's got fucking glitter and like hollow and like a cute little pug on there and like donuts and like vibrant colors. Like, well, not really, it's like more like a pastel, but whatever. My point is like, I like that kind of shit. I like glitter. I like pink. I like, you know, stereotypically girly things. So, but I also like, you know, I like, you know, actually, personality-wise, I've drifted more away from that. I like getting my nails, I mean, not really like acrylics, but I like getting like pedicures, I like getting facials, I like doing stuff like that, which men can do too, but I like getting that stuff done. I like doing my hair, I like doing makeup, not really on me, but like on other people. I like, you know, I don't know, I mean, I like things, but I'm not really into sports. I don't, you know, I'm not into drinking beer on Sundays. I hate football. I don't, you know, I like cars. You know, I like doing stuff like that. I like, you know, like there's certain things, but I just feel like with my personality, like I said, I feel like I'm pretty balanced. Yes, I dress more masculine, but I feel like mentally, like personality wise, I'm more feminine. And then like I feel like my balance is. Anyone wants to disagree with me, that's fine. You can disagree, like I whatever, but for me that's just my balance. That's me finding my balance in life. So yeah. But I get it. But anyway, so I don't even know where I was going with this video. I was trying to talk about something else, and then I ended up going down this road. But anyway, so basically, I'm twitching. So yeah. So for me, I just think that people just need to start opening their minds and like trying to see where everybody comes from. Don't be stuck in your views. Try to kind of get a perspective on what it is. And even I do this, and I'm trying not to. I've gotten better on it with a lot of subjects, but there's one subject where I will talk about in another video that I've had difficulty kind of not getting defensive about, and that's my bad, and I'm trying to maybe think within myself about why I'm getting defensive about that. I was actually going to talk to like a therapist about it, maybe, or Joe, but like to figure out why I think that way, because that's also like one of the bad things that I think, but I mean, as far as like women and men and stuff like that, I'm very much in the middle. I feel like there's, like I said, problems everywhere, and that's the thing, is you shouldn't make your problems bigger than somebody else. I feel like your problems in your group are big. I feel like if they're a problem, they're a problem, and I feel like people should understand that and not be like, well, yeah, I hear your problems, but you gotta hear mine. Like, no, if you were listening to somebody talk about their shit, talk about their problems within their little group thing, then you need to shut the fuck up and listen. And then when they're done talking, then they want to hear your side, then you fucking talk. But don't cut them off and be like, well, no, I hear you, sort of, but this is why, blah, blah, and just stop getting fucking defensive, people. Like, honestly, that's been one of the hardest things in my life, is not getting defensive or shit. But I've done it. So I just think people need to chill. But for me, I just think it would be better, like with liberals and conservatives, right there in the middle. Not really right in the middle when it comes to Christianity and gays, just because I'm not religious at all. But I do understand why people would be so attracted to religion and believe in that. Because you're probably like, well, why do you believe in science? And I'm like, well, because I believe in science. So, you know what I mean? I do understand why people are drawn to that, Do I agree with it? With everything that comes with it? No, definitely not. Just like they probably don't agree with everything that comes to us. Mostly the entire thing. But that's fine, But with, yeah, so, who knows. But that's all I really want to talk about. I don't really know why I got onto the subject. Like I said, I was going to talk about something completely different, and I didn't, so, oh well, I'll just make that into another video. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and, I'm going to be trying to upload more videos. I've just been, like, super busy, but on my days off, I'm going to be trying to, like, do more. It's just been a lot of stuff, but anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you later.